Hello, Sir Aldebaran. So, let's start off this video by introducing you to my most adorable puppy. We got this as a toy, and he just looks so cute, so I want to share with everyone. His name is Aldebaran. He is my dog. Isn't he adorable? Yes, he is. Fun fact, he is named after a star in the Taurus constellation. That's where I got the name Aldebaran. It's the bullseye, so pretty cool. Anyways, so on that adorable note, let's go into factoring. So we're going to do 4 terms, and we're also going to do trinomials with a greater than 1. So factoring polynomials with 4 terms. So 4 terms, obviously there's 4 different terms here. And these are actually one of the easiest things to factor. Well, what do we do now? All we're going to do is we're going to group the first 2, and we're going to group the second 2 and pull out a GCF. So if we group those first 2, we have x cubed plus 7x squared. Group the second 2, we have 2 and 14x. And then we just see what we can pull out. So between those first 2, I can divide out an x squared. And between the second 2, I can divide out a 2. That's what they have in common. So I divide out that x squared, and I'm left with x plus 7. I divide out that 2, and I'm also left with x plus 7. Okay, and now this is all technically like one term here. And same thing here. This is all kind of just one term here because they're being multiplied. So they both have that x plus 7 in common. So we can just divide out that x plus 7. So x squared times x plus 7 divided by x plus 7 is going to give us x plus 7. Same thing here. This is going to give us x plus 7. And so we're just left with x squared plus 2. Okay, so really, if we go back to this step right here, these 2 are the same, and they should always be the same. That becomes one of your parentheses. Whatever's on the outside becomes the other parenthesis. Pretty neat. Okay. Blah, blah, blah. Whoa, this is cool. Oh my gosh. These videos honestly are so embarrassing. Like, I bet you guys are just shaking your heads at me. Anyways, w squared plus 5w, w cubed plus 5w squared minus 8w minus 40. So group the first 2, group the second 2. Notice what I did right here. So this is a minus sign. I grouped that minus sign inside there, and I changed this to a plus sign. Okay, you always want a plus sign between your parentheses. Okay, so if it's a subtraction, put the subtraction in the parentheses and just put a plus between them. Okay, so between those first 2, I can pull out a w squared. Between the next 2, I can pull out a negative 8w. And it's negative because this leading term is negative. If this is negative, you will always pull out a negative. Okay, so then we have w squared, and w cubed divided by w squared is w. 5w squared, whoop, my bad. 5w squared divided by w squared is 5. Pull out that negative 8, and I'm left with w plus 5. Again, we have those w plus 5s are the same. We can pull that out, and I'm left with w plus 5 and w squared minus 8. Cool. Let's do this last one. So w cubed minus w squared minus 3 v cubed minus v squared minus 3v plus 3. Group the first 2, group the second 2. So between those first 2, I can pull out a v squared. Between the second, I can pull out a negative 3. So I'm left with v squared, v minus 1, negative 3, and v minus 1. V minus 1s are the same, so I have v minus 1 and v squared minus 3. Neat. That's pretty neat meme. I literally just Google, like, neat meme, and then these are the things that pop up. Anyways. All right, so now factoring trinomials with a greater than 1. So I want to do this with grouping, and I want to show you something. So if we need to multiply these 2 numbers. So if we do 18 times negative 5. Well, 18 times negative 5, I think that is negative 90. Okay, so we want to see what is going to multiply to give us negative 90 and what is going to add to give us negative 27. So, or subtract. Let's write out the factors of 90. Well, that's 1 and 90, 2 and 45, 3 and 30. Oh, wait a second. 3 and 30. If I do 3 minus 30, I get negative 27. And if I do 3 times negative 30, I get negative 90. Sweet. So that works. Okay. So 3 and 30. What I'm going to do here, I'm just going to move this down. So I'm going to put 18x squared. And then I'm going to change that negative 27 to 3 and negative 30. So that's going to be plus 3x minus 30x minus 5. Okay. And then let's group them. So that's going to be 18x squared plus 3x, and then plus negative 30x minus 5. Between these first two, I can pull out a 3x. Between these second two, I can pull out a negative 5. So that's going to be 3x, and then 6x plus 1, then minus 5, and 6x plus 1. We have that 6x plus 1 in common, so this is 6x plus 1 and 3x minus 5. Pretty cool. Okay, so that's one method for doing this. Another method would be to go back to our box and do it with a box. So this is all going to go away, so if you need it, pause the video. If not, bye-bye. And we have this box, so we know that 18x squared is in the top left corner and negative 5 is in the bottom. What we're going to do here is we're going to multiply 18 and negative 5, and we get negative 90, which is what I did before. The box is just an organization tool. That's all it is. Now, we want to know what are two numbers that multiply to give us negative 90 and add or subtract to give us negative 27. Well, I just did this. It's 3 and negative 30. So that's what's going to go in these boxes here, 3x and negative 30x. And then we're just pulling out GCF. So between 18x squared and 3x, oh, sorry, wrong way. Between 18x squared and negative 30x, I can pull out a 6x. Between 3x and negative 5, I can't pull out anything except for a 1. Between 18x squared and 3x, I can pull out a 3x. And between negative 30x and negative 5, I can pull out a negative 5. So then my factors end up being 3x minus 5 and 6x plus 1, which is the same thing I got when I did it the other way. Okay, that's the thing with factoring and with a lot of mathematics, there's a lot of ways to get to things, and some people need organization tools, some people don't need organization tools. So whatever works for you, stick with it. Okay, I'm not going to mark you wrong if you do it different than I do, as long as you can explain your thinking. Okay, so this one, let's use the box again. So we have 3x squared and 10. And then multiply those two. So 3 and 10, we get 30. So we want to know what are two numbers that are going to multiply to give you 30 and add or subtract to give you negative 11. And I'm getting negative 11 from right there. So if we write this out, 1, 30, 2, 15, 3, 10, 5, 6. So 5 and 6 are going to add to give me, or subtract, negative 5 minus 6 is negative 11. Negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. So then that's going to be negative 5x and negative 6x. And then just take out GCF. So between 3x squared and negative 5x, the only thing I can pull out is an x. Between negative 6x and 10, I can pull out a negative 2. Between 3x squared and negative 6x, I can pull out a 3x. And between negative 5x and 10, I can pull out a negative 5. So then that's x minus 2 and 3x minus 5. If you were to do it the other way, you would still end up finding these numbers, so negative 5 and 6. But we could just write these in. So we have 3x squared minus 5x minus 6x plus 10. And it might not work if we do this way, but let's just double check. So if we group these two and group these two, so between those I can only pull out an x, and I'm left with a 3x minus 5. Between those I can pull out a negative 2, and I'm left with a 3x minus 5. These are the same. Oh, it does work. Sweet. It doesn't matter what order you do it in. So 3x minus 5 and x minus 2. Same thing. See, I was even skeptical for a second. Like, oh, I don't know if it works if we do another method. It does. Okay, even me, I get skeptical of other methods, but it works. Okay, sweet. I don't know why I'm skeptical. Like, I've been teaching this for 5 years now, but whatever. 8y squared minus 10y minus 3. So 8y squared goes in the top, negative 3 goes in the bottom. Multiply those two and we get negative 24. So we want to see what multiplies to give us negative 24 and adds or subtracts to give us negative 10. Well, I have 1 and 24, 2 and 12, 3 and 8, and 4 and 6. Well, now again, I'm picking between 2 and 12 and 4 and 6. 2 minus 12 is negative 10, so that works. 2 times negative 12 is negative 24, so that works. You could check 4 and 6, but it's going to give you a positive 24, not a negative. Oh, looks like I'm checking it. So that one doesn't work. Okay. So then this is going to be 2y and negative 12y. Between 8y squared and negative 12y, I can pull out a 4y. Between 2y and negative 3, I can just pull out a 1. Between 8y squared and 2y, I can pull out a 2y. And between negative 12y and negative 3, I can pull out a negative 3. So I'm left with 2y minus 3 and 4y plus 1. Cool. I want to show you one last method. It's called slip and slide. It's kind of the same thing. This is all basically the same thing. So first we're going to multiply 9 and negative 2. Kind of like what we were doing back here when we multiplied 8 and negative 3, or we multiplied 3 and 10. So I'm going to multiply 9 and negative 2, and I get negative 18. That's what's going to go up top. And then 3 is going to go on the bottom. So that middle term goes on the bottom. So I'm seeing what is going to multiply to give me negative 18 and add or subtract to give me 3. So I have 1 and 18, 2 and 9, 3 and 6. Well, 3 and 6 is the only thing that's going to give me 3. So if I do 6 minus 3, it's 3. 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. So then we have 6 and negative 3 in the sides. And if you remember from last time when we were doing this, we just put those straight in the parentheses. So we have m plus 6 and m minus 3. But at the very beginning, we multiplied by 9, right? We have to undo that multiplication to get back to where we started. So since we multiplied by 9, what is the opposite of multiplication? Well, it's division. So we're going to divide the numbers there by 9. Okay? 3 out of 2 people have trouble with fractions. Just kidding. You don't have trouble with fractions, though, okay? We can do fractions. All we have to do is reduce these. So see that we can reduce these. 6 divided by 9, that's the same thing as 2/3, because 3 goes into 6 twice. 3 goes into 9 3 times. 3 divided by 9 is the same as 1/3. And then we don't want these fractions in there, so we're going to move those back. So that's going to be 3m plus 2 and 3m minus 1. Cool. Let's do another one. So 10p squared minus p minus 2. So 10 times negative 2, that's negative 20. And then negative 1 on the bottom. Remember, if there's not a number there, we always just assume it's a 1. So then we want to see what is going to multiply to give us negative 20 and add or subtract to give us negative 1. Well, 1 and 20, 2 and 10, 4 and 5. 4 and 5 is what it's going to be. So 4 minus 5 is negative 1. 4 times negative 5 is negative 20. So we have 4 and negative 5. Put those in our parentheses, so it's going to be p plus 4, p minus 5. Divide by 10. Again, we have to reduce fractions. 5 out of 4 people agree fractions are important. That's a little bit better. 5 out of 4. Like, I hope you're getting these jokes. I think they're kind of jokes. They're like these corny math dad jokes. Like, I'm like that. Never mind. I'm going to stop talking. So 4 over 10 is 2/5, and 5 over 10 is 1/2. So then we can just slide those back, and we get 5p plus 2 and 2p minus 1. And if we were to multiply these together, I am going to end up getting 10p squared minus p minus 2. Cool? So 2x squared minus 11x plus 15. We want to multiply 2 and 15. We get 30 and negative 11. So we want to see what are two numbers that multiply to give us 30, add or subtract to give us negative 11. 1 and 30, 2 and 15, 3 and 10, 5 and 6. Well, it's 5 and 6. So we have negative 5 minus 6 equals negative 11. Negative 5 times negative 6 is 30. And then put them in the parentheses. So x minus 5, x minus 6. We multiplied by the 2, so we're going to divide by the 2. Now, 5 halves doesn't reduce, so I'm just going to leave that for a second. But 6 over 2 actually reduces to a whole number, so that's going to be x minus 3. And then where that fraction is, we're just going to slide that back. So that's 2x minus 5 and x minus 3. Cool? That's all, folks. So just remember, sorry, mine just spill. I don't care what method you use. As long as you can justify it. If I was to ask you, like, okay, explain this to me or explain it to a friend, you need to be able to do that. Okay? That's all I'm asking. All right. Bye. Cool.